Well, man, this Retro Night thing was cool. They brought out some of the legends from the 93 season, like Craig Ludwig. It was very cool. They did a great job of it, really. But yeah, honestly, if the Stars keep playing like this during Retro Nights, why don't just have it every night? Retro Nights every night? I like the way you think. Hello guys, welcome back. Now before I get started, I want to show you guys something. Victory puppies! Or I guess puppy. Meet Rosie, our new dog. She's Yorkie Poo, so she's just all cuddly. She's amazing. We got her last week, and the Stars haven't gotten a win when she was awake this past week, so this is the best time to show her. Now say goodbye to Rosie, but hopefully you should see her after the next Stars game. Hopefully they win. But the Stars do win against the Minnesota Wild 6-1 against them. I didn't expect this. I thought it was going to be a close game. You know, my Wild are probably going to win because they played Vegas, even though they weren't on a back-to-back. I thought they were going to start Dubnyk because they didn't face all that much rubber against Vegas, but they played really well against Vegas, and I thought they were going to play really well against the Stars, but that didn't really happen, did it? Now the Stars improved to 13, 19, and 4, while Wild decreased a little bit to 28, 19, and 5. Now the Stars didn't make up any ground on the Blues since they won tonight in Buffalo, but at least they keep pace with them, getting 2 points as well. Now, coming into this game, the Wild had the most points by defenseman in the league, and that surprised me a bit, because they were behind teams like the Lightning, who I thought were going to be at the top by a long shot. But the Wild were right next to them, and they are first place in the NHL. That just shows how good their at least their defenseman depth is. They're just crazy on that end. But not in this game, really. Janmark is on a breakaway, but the puck is bad away from his stick. You'll get him next time. Except you won't, because he gets another breakaway later in this game, and he gets another great opportunity later in this game, and he doesn't score on any of them. Just tough breaks by Janmark. He just kept getting denied in this game, really. Now the Wild have a couple of great opportunities, and Kari stops both of them pretty easily, makes them look easy. Kari Lettinen was fantastic tonight. He was just great, solid, all you could really want for him as a backup. He made quite a few saves, and the goal that he did allow, it was a little bit weak, I'd say, but he'll let it go. Just overall, he was fantastic today, and he really did make a fantastic effort to keep his position and keep kind of his job, really. Because he's really starting to lose the starts away from Bishop, who's kind of taking the show over. Lettinen having a great game today after Bishop not having a little bit of a stinker, or I guess not stinker, but a couple of weird stretch here where they haven't been playing fantastic. It's good for Lettinen, though. Now, after those couple of plays, Fox Sports Southwest broadcast turns the game into standard definition to replicate the 1993 play, and I kind of loved that. They did it for like 10 minutes, and it looked great. Well, it didn't look great, but it was a good surprise there, and I did enjoy it for this small sample size that it is. If I'm watching a whole game in standard definition, it's not going to be that great, but for 10 minutes, hey, I can bear it. It looks pretty cool. Now, in the first period, the Minnesota Wild were fantastic. I felt like they played fantastic. They were getting into the Stars' offensive zone very easily, but in the second and third, of course, that wouldn't go very well. Shore gets rocked. I mean, just punished, and there's no call for it, which I can't understand, but at the same time, he just got clobbered, and I can't really fully realize if that's a clean hit or a dirty hit, but it's kind of that gray area where he was just kind of smashed. And I think it was a clean hit, but no penalty on it kind of sucked then. Now Roussel gets an amazing pass. The net is wide open. Stalock is way out of position, and he shoots it wide. It looks so bad that it seemed like his girlfriend dumped him. Now the Stars get a power play, and oh, Minnesota, you don't want to do that. Klingberg goes on the power play, shoots, Janmark scores. I think Janmark tipped that in. It went off Richie's stick, and then tipped off Janmark's stick once again, and it went completely down towards the ice, and that just went back up. So Richie deflected it, then Janmark deflected it. There was some confusion on whether it was Richie or Janmark's goal, but it ended up being Janmark's goal, and Klingberg gets another assist, man. Now, just a minute later, the Wild make a terrible turnover, goes right to Johns. He comes in basically wide open, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe he'll do something creative here. He just cranks it, tries to blast it, and it works. A fantastic shot by Johns, makes it 2-0 over the Minnesota Wild right now, and that was a fantastic shot by Johns, absolutely cranks it, and Stalock had no chance on that, as the Wild just gave up a terrible goal. Now, Stars on the power play once again. The puck is just crumbling. It's just going all over the place around the crease. And then Ben is just right there. He backhands it into the net. There was just a weird confusion. The puck was really just invisible then, but Ben just somehow gets his stick on it and gets a goal. It was a weird play. The puck was just scrambling all over, and Ben got the handle on it, and he makes the Stars go up 3-0 over the Wild. And at this point, it's getting pretty embarrassing for them. Now, at this point, the Wild have just given up as Ben gets the puck. He goes basically, not really cross crease, but across the ice, and Seguin is wide open. Then he blasts it for a goal. The Minnesota Wild made a terrible play right there. They're not even covering Seguin, and he just blasts it home and takes advantage, and the Stars are up 4-0 over the Wild. And I'm sorry, Wild fans, but you just got capitalized on. That defense looked terrible tonight. They looked good in the first, but something happened in that second period. 4 goals in the second period. I think it's a pretty good period for the Stars, right? Now, Spezza gets goal, but it's overturned for hooking. That was the right call, let's be honest here. Even if it was a goal, what difference would it make? No, just a few minutes after this, Zucker gets a brilliant pass. Like, one of the best saucer passes I've ever seen. Goes right up the ice, and Zucker is wide open. He comes in the zone and makes an absolute beauty of a shot, and the Stars are down 5-1. Yeah, the comeback wasn't really real, but we were starting to get a little bit anxious. Now, Seguin passes right to Radulov, who's behind the net. He comes out, dekes around Dubnyk, and the Stars somehow get another goal. Dubnyk made a terrible play on that one. He didn't make the save, obviously, but that was just a bad positioning goal by him. He just let Radulov score there. It was on the backhand. It wasn't really a great shot either, and Dubnyk just lets it go. Somehow, some way, the Stars are up 5-1 by basically a gift from Dubnyk. Oh, no, the Stars aren't done. Hamhughes shoots from the point, redocks off a defenseman, and the Stars are up 6-1. Yeah, 6-1 over the Minnesota Wild. Hamhughes gets a goal, the second of the season. Good for him, and the Stars are up 6-1 on Retro Night. Say it once, I'll say it again. The Stars, if they did Retro Night every night, if they had results like this, I wouldn't really complain. And then the game ends 6-1 over the Minnesota Wild, and the Stars basically dominated throughout, and that's great to see. After a kind of a worrisome week, even though they won against Arizona, they lost against Toronto, and they just had a couple of bad games there, and this game was definitely something that they needed against a tough opponent in the Minnesota Wild, who came off winning against Vegas, and the Stars really needed this against a rival who's right behind them in the standings, and they got it, and they played fantastic, obviously. To widen that gap throughout the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche, who, by the way, lost today against the Winnipeg Jets, this was an amazing night for the Stars, really in general. 6-1, Fax on the second line, Spezza on the third line, it's brilliant hit. Stars fans have been begging for the longest of times, especially this season, put Faxa in the second line and good things will happen to you, and that's really what happened today. Faxa was great in this game, especially defensively. You could really notice him. He's just a fantastic player, and if he's a second line center on your team, that's a really good one. Faxa is one of the most underrated players in the AHL. I firmly believe that. And the defense all around played fantastic. Even in the first period, they weren't bad, and the Stars were able to just put a chokehold on the Wild in the second and the third, especially. The second period was fantastic for the defense, and the third period, of course, they got a couple of goals there, and the defense just shut everything down. The defense had a fantastic game. Lennon had a very good game to keep that game still scoreless going into the second period. That was great to see. Lennon had a fantastic night, and overall, the defense and the goaltending was just great. Again, with the line combos, you have Honka in, Faxa on the second line, Hitchcock. This is heaven right now. I think I fundamentally agree with every single line combination, every single position. I can't really say any position where I thought, hey, this guy should have been in the other line or whatever. This was just a perfect matchup, and these perfect lines were really to gel together. Now I'm looking at the schedule now for the Dallas Stars for the next 6 games. Stars plays the Rangers on the 5th of February. That's going to be an interesting game. That's at home. They play the Blackhawks at the, I guess Chicago. And Chicago hasn't really been that great in Chicago this season, so that's going to be an interesting game for them. They play the Penguins at the AAC. That's very key because the Penguins are pretty damn decent at home. Then they play the Canucks at the AAC. That should be a win, let's be honest here. Then they play the Blues at the AAC. That's going to be a good matchup there. There's going to be a very good game to watch, too. And then they play the Sharks in San Jose, so that's going to be a tough matchup as well. They have one game where they should win, and they have to win there. And they have a couple of games against division rivals there where you definitely like to see a win against Chicago, put the pegs right down on their throat, and keep them out of a playoff spot for good. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Stars, and obviously they just need to stay consistent with that. And of course, they will make the playoffs. Even though the Central is the toughest division in the NHL, they can definitely make it. And the Stars are a key contributor to being one of the best in the NHL, and they just need to keep winning. Of course, they just need to keep winning, keep getting points whenever they can, and they'll make the playoffs for sure. They're playing great hockey right now. This win has definitely solidified that. If they continue to play like this, yeah, they'll make the playoffs. That's gonna be it, guys. Guys, enjoy. Make sure you like. Guys, really enjoy. Make subscribe. Ring that bell if you haven't. And I'll see you guys later in the next video. Hopefully, when the Stars win against the Rangers. Goodbye.